After you've seen me drawing a couple of legs in real time, now we're switching over to some fast forward drawings of more legs from different perspectives to understand more how the anatomy works from different angles. Basically, learning anatomy is the foundation on where you build up all your knowledge about drawing, and not just the muscles but also the bones, and in the final end also the fat tissues. Like, for example, when a person sits on an object, that you know where the muscle is of course important, but also knowing where fat pads are, because the fat is not distributing the same way all over the area. Knowing where the fat pads are helps you to create an even more realistic view, because 0% fat, even though maybe people would like to have it, is not possible. As far as I know, 7% is the minimum until it gets unhealthy for men, and 13% of body fat is the lowest rate for women. And as I already told you, that the body itself is symmetrical, like in a sense of when you have a left arm, then it's mirrored, and you have a right arm or left leg and right leg. But when you look at an arm himself or itself, or a leg itself, then it's highly asymmetrical. So but that's a good thing, because you can find a lot of these harmonic curves which are giving the shape of a human such a dynamic it would not have if even the legs themselves would be symmetrical. Sorry, I just have something in my throat and I'm gonna get rid of it. So once you've learned the anatomy, like a good way to approach these kinds of drawings is by constructing the lines. This is not, first of all, as I always say, I consider myself that I'm still in the process of learning. I don't think I will ever reach a point where I say, okay, now I learned everything there is which is important for drawing or so. And I'm, as I said, like in the process of improving and learning. And there are definitely different approaches, but like a really common way to approach these drawings is, as you see, always starting with those construction lines. Those construction lines, like I start with a basic line of the pelvis, and then I try to catch the gesture, like the overall dynamic of the position. And those construction lines don't mean necessarily that they are exactly where the bones are, but they definitely can help you to place the bones. And once you have the bones, you can wrap around like very simple geometric forms, like for legs, let's say cylinders. You can already put that into an angle, like really observe your reference, and you can tell if you're looking like straight flat from the front on it or slightly from the top, which makes it possible that you can see some top planes or from below. So you should already incorporate that in those simple geometric forms, because the next step is that you indicate where the most important groups are wrapping around that cylinder. And when the cylinder is already showing you like from which perspective you are looking on it, then you will also change the way you're wrapping the muscles around it. And what definitely helps also is searching for landmarks. Depending from which position you're looking at, you have to know where the landmarks are. For example, on the drawing I am drawing right now is that you are going to see a leg from the outside, and there, like underneath the knee, where the fibula starts, there is like a piece of bone which sticks out. And the line I'm drawing right now is starting at the hip and connecting to that piece underneath the knee. And for example, that helps you to connect this line, and also the hamstrings are connecting there, and you will already know the starting point and the end point of the muscles, and the rest is just to understand, okay, which muscle is flexed right now, which is relaxed, and it will tell you if you will have to make the curve between those 2 points like really bulgy or like rather flat. Flat when it's relaxed, it's gonna be a bulge when it's flexing. And you find landmarks all over the place, like the point at the hip, where you can feel your bone, your upper leg bone, which is called the femur, is a very prominent one. Then the knee, of course, the point under the knee I just pointed out. Then when you're looking from the inner side, you have also another band which is starting at the iliac crest of the pelvis and is wrapping around your leg, and is also inserting the lower piece of your knee. This muscle is called the sartorius, and those landmarks always help you to not draw every single shape out of your head where you think, okay, this might be right, but to definitely know, okay, here has to be an origin of a muscle, or here has to be the insertion of a muscle. And yeah, that really helps. And always think of three-dimensional objects. So every muscle is not 2D. It has a mass, it has a volume. So even if you know where the muscles are, you will always experience surprises, like depending from which perspective you're looking at the object, you will be surprised that this piece of muscle is wrapping himself in front of the other, where you would think that the other muscle would be rather in front. So this is why practice is so much important, and repetition and different references, because like not only this can give you the knowledge, like a regular anatomy book won't be able to do it, because this book won't ever show you the human body from so many different perspectives. And also you learn better when you are applying the rules with your hand instead of just watching it. So how far do you want to go with this? It of course depends like what your aims are. Like if you want to do comics for children, knowing every single muscle is not as important, because the figures in children's comics are way more simplified. Pointing out different muscles are not so important, and so there's a lot of tolerance about that. Even if you want to do like rather grown-up comics, I'd say so. For example, superheroes, they are all so muscular, and they always look like every single muscle is flexed, you know, big biceps, big triceps, big quads and whatnot. So it also, to a certain extent, is tolerant, but you should better know already where the single muscles are. And but if you want to do like really realistic drawings, go into fine arts and be a master at human anatomy, you have to even know like which muscles, because you're not always drawing the same human physique, right? And even clothes are really forgiving, because you won't see muscles which are wrapped by clothes, maybe just indications. So you really will have to decide where do you want to go to find out how deep you want to learn anatomy. And I mean, it always takes me like 2 weeks to like read about the anatomy, memorize it, and then do a lot of practices. And for sure, like when I'm going on and doing different projects, I will have to need like to refresh my knowledge when I'm coming back to it. So in my opinion, you already can get a really good amount of knowledge about anatomy in a short period of time to create realistic drawings. But just know that this is also time you could use to be better at drawing animals. So it's just important, or still lifes, you know, it's just important to know where you want to go, what you want to be capable of. And the process for me is first knowing exactly where singular muscles and tendons and everything is, to understand the human body, the three-dimensionality, how the muscles wrap and all. And from this exact knowledge, then you can get your freedom for exaggerating, creating own forms. Like when you think of creating creatures or like deformed species or something like that, because or even robots, you can deduct so much from the actual human body. Like if I look at pictures, like concept arts of robots, for example, or androids, you see so many mechanical parts which are just imitating what the human body is doing, and it gives it like you will immediately have a lot of ideas for details. It gives the robot like believability, because like for example, I don't know, the head needs to move up and down and left and right, and this is why this mechanical part is there and this mechanical part is there. So that knowledge of the body just helps you in so many cases that I from my perspective, it's definitely useful to learn it. And right now I am drawing again a muscular physique. This band wrapping around the leg is the sartorius band. You can see it better on the right leg than on the left leg, because since he is like ducking down, of course the fat pads, like everything is squeezed together and you don't have those clear lines. You rather have lines which are kind of showing the position of the leg, that it's bended right now. And now I'm applying coarse shadows. Always helps, like first know from where is coming the light, and then you find out where the shadow is. And yeah, I was practicing my cross hatching here. The lines of the singular hatches, I always also try to imply the form of the object I'm cross hatching, that those lines are wrapping around the form, and also not only showing a little bit of tone of this area, but also hinting the form, like that it's cylindrical and there is a plane change, for example. and you have to be consistent by doing that. And we're almost done with this leg tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, of course, contact me on Twitter or Coil or Cinnamon, wherever. I will read your comments and I'd be happy to help. And or just post something on Twitter of your art drawings and tag me in that, and I'll be happy to look at that. So I will take a pause from doing anatomy. I will pursue some other projects, and I definitely will come back doing more lower legs and feet, and you will hear from me soon. So I see you around, and goodbye.